Chief Information Security Officer of one of the leading life insurance companies, Tata AIA. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Pawan Chawla on the show.
Hi, thanks for inviting me for the show.
What are the things that keep you up from a security landscape perspective, managing such mission critical systems?
You can hire a ransomware planter for $10 per hour, and you can buy a ransomware itself at a cost of $40.
And there are regulatory requirements as well, right? So you are being an insurance company, you are under RIDA, you will have Government of India cert standards to meet, and then you have compliance of PCI.
Not looked at as the issue finding exercise. It is looked at as the gap finding exercise, which people now have started taking positively. When a function is dealing with the data, they believe that they require it on day-to-day basis, and they believe they are the owner of it.
MIT just came out with a report saying that 95% of the organizations who have implemented AI and are not even seeing an ROI. Hello everyone, this is Ashish Tandon and welcome to the Guardians of the Enterprise show, a fireside chat specially curated to talk to some of the leaders who are managing mission critical systems, customer trust and innovation and a changing landscape and geopolitical issues. We've all dealt with insurance policies all our lives, and it has also gone through a paradigm shift. Imagine us, when we were young, or at least I was younger, the way we used to buy a policy would be somebody coming to our house or office and selling us the physical documents, and then after a year renewing it was the same process. And today, fast forward, everything is online, digital, convenient. I can do it even in the middle of the night, get my policies renewed, add a new policy, etc., etc. While all these conveniences have been built into our systems and our day-to-day life, I don't think it's very easy for the insurance companies who have taken a complete change and are now using the digital landscape to service their customers, and more so keeping these systems secure and safe from adversaries and hackers, and especially in these times where hackers have unbelievable access to technology, whether it's cloud, AI, and whatnot. Today, to uncover challenges insurers and insurance businesses face, I am going to be joined by SVP and Chief Information Security Officer of one of the leading life insurance companies, Tata AIA. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Pawan Chawla on the show. Hi Pawan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for inviting me for the show. Looking forward to the discussion. It's insurance industry is definitely going into a paradigm shift right now. The digitization you talked about, definitely it's need of the hour, and there are many things which have been unfolded over a period of time, from a legacy system to the digital transformation. Looking forward to having a discussion on the same.
Excellent. So, Pawan, before we get deeper, let me start with my favorite thing. I mean, this is the question I keep asking myself as running a business, a security business myself. What are the things that keep you up from a security landscape perspective, managing such mission critical systems?
Well, that's a great question, Ashish. As Chief Information Security Officer, I also take care of the data privacy and protection as well, especially in the market, which is dynamic and changing, digitally evolving in India. There are several cybersecurity risks which are deeply concerning. To name few, the data breaches and the PI exposure is the most prominent one. Insurance companies handle a lot of data, which includes the medical records, personal information, KYC documents, and all. And hence, those needs to be taken care, because there are regulatory penalties, loss of customer trust, and long-term reputational damage associated with it. The other risk which has evolved over a period of time is the ransomware and the targeted malware attacks. So these days, we know, deep and dark web has become a more organized market than it used to be in the past. Now you can hire a ransomware planter for $10 per hour, and you can buy a ransomware itself at a cost of $40. So it has become that commercially economical and viable. And moreover, there are different roles which different people play in the dark web, and you actually they have their own task, specified defined task. One will plant, one will exploit, and the other one will do the data exfiltration. So I sometimes believe that it is much more organized than any of the other industry we are dealing with. So that's the world we are living in. So ransomware is going to continue to evolve, and the attackers are increasingly targeting financial institutions lately. So uh, the threats, I mean, the exposures which are relevant to this could be double extortion, like I talked about, data theft plus encryption, which they do, supply chain attack, and the last one could be the attack time around financial reporting or the renewal cycle, because you must have heard and have seen attackers sending email to CFO, impersonating CEO, asking to transfer some money and all. And there are many. That's called the whale phishing. I mean, they keep on doing that, and that's how they are evolving as well. With especially AI coming into the picture, it has become more difficult uh, to track and monitor as well. We saw the deepfake videos, and now the images which are floating on LinkedIn. You see that somebody with a famous celebrity generating a picture and posting it on LinkedIn, and then asking people to share inputs on that. I mean, those are AI generated, which is very difficult to track until now. You are technically savvy and you understand that how to identify those nitty gritties and identify the difference between the real image and the AI generated image. The third one could be the insider threats. I mean, recently we have seen insider threats have become a prominent case. As recent as there is one going on with Google as well, where a few people were involved, and attackers are actually protecting them of not to be getting fired and things like that. So those information are there. I have experience in the past as well, where insider threats become a very prominent task, and certain things which needs to be taken care, like privilege access misuse is one of the reason because of which it happens. So old employees leaving the organization, but their IDs are not getting uh, disabled or deleted, could be reason. The data exploitation, because at times people feel that whatever data they have generated in the organization belongs to them, but it is actually the organization proprietary information and should not be taken out. The lack of visibility into the internal movement within the internal network. So person moving from one function to another is another prominent risk, because generally in such scenarios you don't disable the access which was provided to the user in his past role. So that leads to the over privilege access to a particular individual, which could lead to the insider attack. Fourth one, which is prominent and we have recently seen, is the supply chain attacks. I mean, you look at it, you are as vulnerable as your partner. So if your partner is being breached, so consider that there could be an impact on you as well. Until others, there are proactive actions and there are mitigation controls which are put in place. So weak security postures of vendors, hence it become important of doing a third party risk assessment as well, and not only TPRM process to be conducted, but the technology risk assessment to be conducted before onboarding a particular solution. The APIs you are integrating that need to be focused upon, and lack of continuous monitoring and assurance need to be assured throughout the journey. It should not be taken as a one time, but it should be done as a continuous process as well. Then there are, I mean, regulatory non-compliance could lead to penalties and all that I spoke about. And the last one I want to touch base upon is the cloud security, because we are talking about digital evolution, and most of the companies are now moving on towards the cloud, uh, defeating the legacy system. So generally, in the past also we have seen there are some companies which have been breached because there was some UAT instance created on the cloud, and people forgot when the main system goes into production, they forgot to delete that. So that's another piece which is a matter of a concern and should be focused upon. And these are the things which are keeping me awake as well.
Awesome. It's and it's been like, then both of us go back, it's over a couple of decades of experience in security, and I couldn't agree with you. And I think to summarize, I think 4 or 5 key areas we touched upon. One, hackers have a marketplace now. You can buy a DDoS attack, you can
So
buy a bot attack, you can buy a ransomware attack. and it at a very cheap price. So one has to be around the top. I think the other key critical part you mentioned was on third party, third party integrations. And in this day and age when all of us have to collaborate, I mean that's the reality. One has to collaborate. You can't build everything on your own. You partner, but and large organizations like yours, making sure that all the API integrations, all the aspects which are getting done to partner, they don't introduce any new risk. That's another beast which is now on the table. The other important aspect you highlighted was about the internal risks, right? So where challenges in which you need to take care of internally, either from movement within the organization or uh, internal employees trying to, we have seen enough cases coming out of the open that they're trying to leverage, the system for financial gains or whatever. That absolutely is a very, very critical aspect. And finally, I think the other aspect which you highlighted, which I feel, which is really leading to all this, is the adoption of cloud, AI, and all these aspects by our adversaries as well, right? So they also have access to the information and leveraging them to. The job is not simple for sure, and so Pawan, while all these are very valid challenges, CISOs and CIOs I talk to are going through, and working on figuring out mechanisms and processes to overcome that. Uh, and there are regulatory requirements as well, right? So you are being an insurance company, you are under IRDA, you would have Government of India cert standards to meet, and then you have compliance from PCI and whatnot. There are quite a few. Do these, one of the things I always have, struggled is that there are so many compliances and there are so many overlapping things within them. Uh, while one is trying to meet those compliances, but are they kind of, in doing that, do you think that you are kind of moving away from what is really required and spending a lot of time just to meet those compliance checkmarks and make sure that the audit is met? What is your view there? Do you think these compliances are up to date, and just doing them you are very safeguarded because they happen on a quarterly or a regular basis, and you're not, and or is it making you sometimes, or it does make you move sometimes away from what is really required from a security perspective?
See, balancing the different regulatory requirements is definitely required, because that is the key to run a business, and specifically in Indian market, which is evolving. There is some balancing needs to be done at the regulator end as well. So if you look at it today, earlier it used to be, so there is a RBI, there is IRDA, there is certain, and earlier it used to talk different languages, where somebody says that you have to report a particular security incident within 6 hours, somebody says that you have to report it in 72 hours, and somebody says that you have to report it in 48 hours. So then it becomes a difficult task for compliance and CISOs as well to which standard to follow. So it is getting standardized. I mean, definitely we are not as matured as the Singapore market, to give you an example, where you report at one place and the information get proposed to the other regulatory entities. So that has to that maturity is still yet to come in the market. But regulatory compliance is not just in a tick in the box. I mean, the way it used to be in the past and the way it is today, it has evolved over a period of time. Now, if you see that it plays a very balancing act in terms of recommending the possible solutions, bifurcating the roles and responsibilities, balancing the need of the organization and the regulatory requirement which are there to keep the organization secure. And most importantly is the customer interest, which needs to be secured as well. So that way it has evolved, and it will continue to evolve. Fortunately, I've been in touch with regulators and we keep sharing the input. So I see that there is a lot of work which has been done, and it will mature over a period of time.
So let me have a follow-up question on that. So while what I'm getting from you, the regulatory process and system has definitely evolved, become better, and it is in the right direction. right from safeguarding your systems to also safeguarding the customers or subscribers who are subscribing to your service, right? But there are there are multiple compliances you need to meet, and hence you need to do it at multiple places. Is this what your board also expects? Because now security has become a board level discussion, right? And the board is equally, because if any untoward incident, the board and the company's image is at stake, right? So does the board also satisfied if you say that you're meeting all the compliances, or they have specific requirements which are kind of driving you in terms of newer areas, especially now with AI?
Definitely. I mean, it is not that board is not cognizant of, and they do not take look into it. It's not just tick in the box, because now if you look at it, there are depending on the regulation you talk about, there are multiple things which have to be reported to the board on a regular basis as well. Now, whether it is quarterly, whether it is half yearly, that is on the organization to decide. But to play a balancing act in between, it is very important, because otherwise there will be areas which will not get highlighted at the right time to the board, and there may be misses which will happen. So what regulators have done is they have made ensure that in case there are risks, there are vulnerabilities, there are challenges in terms of addressing some of the issues, they have to be reported to the board on a regular basis. So I mean, if I look at the IRDA guideline, it says that you have to report it to the board twice in a year. But generally, I've seen organizations follow the quarterly practice and keep on reporting the KPIs and parameters to the board on a quarterly basis, so that our right focus is being given to the right issue, and are being addressed accordingly to ensure the customer interest and ensure that you are meeting all the regulatory requirements. The way it used to be looked at earlier, where all the audits, all the compliances, getting it done on a yearly basis used to be a tick in the box exercise. But that mentality or that standard has changed now. It has become more focused. I've seen the change where audit is not looked at as the as a finding issue. Let me put it. I mean, not looked at as the issue finding exercise. It is looked at as the gap finding exercise, which people now have started taking positively, because those are the areas needs to be addressed, and definitely those are the things need to be taken care and reported to the board as well. Now, especially coming with the AI adoption, definitely again it is prominent, and it is being adopted by most of the organization. What is more important is putting the right governance in place when you are adopting a AI technology, or you are building yourself AI platform. You need to ensure that there are different security gates you put in, and there is a continuous monitoring happens of the AI LLM or different LLM models which you are using to identify the vulnerabilities, gaps, or the information which it probably may be utilizing to generate some kind of results. So those needs to be monitored and actioned upon. So the governance process is very important in that case.
Absolutely. So, Pawan, one more thing. Another thing again, this is decades of experience of mine and yours. The chief information security officer or the security team and the business team generally are at loggerheads. They are always looked at as blockers. The business wants to move fast. They want to get new product announcements out. They want to make, they want to get new things going in. And now every announcement, everything is based on digitalization. They will have, it is an application. It is, it is great. And how do they get this fast? And it has a digital footprint. And the CISOs are, this doesn't look secure unless until I clear them. You're not letting them go. With so much of technology, innovation, and I think a lot of partners, like for example, we focus a lot in making sure that while we help, make sure that the security is there, but also figure out a way that the friction goes away. Meaning, there are mechanisms used in security from technology perspective. New age technology coming in, that while security is upheld and made sure it is important, but you don't become a blocker. How do you use technology and innovations of the new age innovations in and not being a blocker anymore or become a friend, that my friend, Mr. Business, continue doing whatever you want. I have your back. Is that something which is a pipe dream, or you think we are getting there?
No, I mean that's a fight which every CISO fights internally. But I have seen the change in the mindset, and I have seen recently that the change in the mindset have gone to the level where CTO themselves consider them as a business unit and ask CISOs to support them on identifying a right technology and all. But again, I mean the way CISOs have always been always. Not always, but let me say that CISO struggled in the past in getting a business case approved, but that has changed. The mindset has changed, and up to the board level, this has been taken care very seriously. Now, looking at, I mean, the way market is moving and people are enabling and going through a journey of digital transformation, like online onboarding, cloud adoption, AI-driven underwriting, without, I mean, it is important without compromising the security. A strategic blend of architecture, governance, and culture has to be put in place. Now, with that, what I mean is it needs to be explained very explicitly the advantages of what we are doing and why we are doing it. And that I've seen that it's a win-win case for both the business and the security professionals. And there are certain things which needs to be done while explaining that. So you need to explain why security by design is important and why that architecture plays a very important role. So while onboarding, whether you do KYC, eKYC, but CKYC, video KYC, it is important to ensure that use the secure SDK with liveliness detection and encryption and tamper-proof audit trails, because that is important because it leads to not identifying vulnerabilities at a later stage, but it identifying when you're coding it, and it makes the work faster. So it is not about only uh, doing a security assessment after the product is developed. If you start embedding security from day one, it becomes a very important. It becomes a business enabler than a roadblocker at a later stage. Along with that, I mean, while if you are talking about online onboarding, the consent management as per the DPDP Act plays a very important role and going to be playing a very important role going forward, because it is it is one of the key pillar of DPDP Act, and there are certain actions expected as well. So implementing granularly revocable consent aligned with the DPDP Act is very important. Fraud detection, integrated behavioral analytics of a user. I spoke about internal threats and all. It's very important, and then device fingerprinting and to detect abnormalities plays a very important role. So these aspects needs to be explained very categorically, because if you don't explain it properly, it will always be looked at as a roadblocker. Along with that, we talked about AI adaptation. If you do the model governance and ensure explainability, fairness, and the bias mitigation in MI model, I think it's a win situation for both the business and the business IT and security professionals to take care. The other aspect which needs to be very explicitly explained, and it's a battle which CISOs fight, is the data minimization. Because when a function is dealing with the data, they believe that they require it on day-to-day basis, and they believe they are the owner of it. But actually, it belongs to the customer, not even the organization, and that need to be safeguarded appropriately. So that understanding needs to be passed. You can definitely do it with different kind of awareness program in the organization, but that needs to be taken care. Similarly, somebody dealing with APIs, integrating APIs, protecting AI endpoints with rate limiting authentication and threat detection is important. So you need to explain that why these things are important, and certain things as simple as MFA, implementing MFA in a particular technology or particular applications becomes a very important role. Plays a very important role these days, because in 2025, MFA is the biggest thing which has been found in various threat reports as well. So that plays an important role. Another piece which I want to touch base upon is the data classification, because employees are dealing with data. So for them, it's a fuel. It used to be an oil, it used to be a fuel. Now I say that it has become a soil, because on that you are building your businesses, right? So you need to understand that why classification of a data is required, and what is the risk tiering where within the data classification itself. So there has to be a clear bifurcation telling them that what is PI, what is SPI, what is ODI. You need to tell them that how to deal each set of data and how to classify that. Rather, I mean, organization have been following practices of manually manually classify a particular data, but I think the time has come where people need to move upon and put a automated classification uh, methodology or tools in the organization, so that it has not become an option, or it is not become a choice. It becomes mandatory, which needs to be implemented in an organization. Then comes the policy and regulatory continuous integrations, which is required, because every act give reference to the other act. So the journey has to be embedded, and first need to be understood and then embedded in your cycle itself. So
No, fantastic. I think, Pawan, you're absolutely right. I think what you are so I pose a very simple question, and you have posed a very nice, detailed, outlined it that it's not as simple. Yes, there is a conflict, but it is by design, because at the end of the day, the customer information which you are dealing with is extremely important. Meeting regulatory compliance is important. The corporate level goals have to be met. The corporate image has to be taken into consideration, and I think what you're trying to highlight is that you're doing this by balancing, making sure that using more and more technology or security implementation done in such a way that businesses do not, the speed doesn't go down. But at the same time, you are continuously talking to them, explaining them why is this important, why are you doing all these things, and why, and you are trying your best by leveraging various technologies, whether it's AI, whether it's cloud, whether it is integrating various aspects to make sure it is working. Absolutely. But I have a very interesting, this is another important, interesting question I love asking my guests is what do you think? AI is a real thing, or is really solving real world problems, or it is hype, or the answer is somewhere in the middle, or we don't know. It's too early. Like MIT just came out with a report saying that 95% of the organizations who have implemented AI, and this came out last week, are not even seeing an ROI. So again, there are now there are basically mixed emotions and mixed outcomes of AI. From your perspective, what would you think? Are you think AI is real, AI is hype, or somewhere in the middle?
So I would say it is still at a niche stage. People because it is not fully embedded anywhere. The real value will come out only when it is embedded and adopted across the platforms, not in a one particular aspect. So if you look at it, AI and automation are transforming security operations as well. I mean, you being an OEM, definitely you must be using an AI technology in your products as well. And whereas if you look at it, whether it is an hype or in the real world how it has been adopted, there is a reality mix between the real world and the hype that needs to be carefully vetted before it has been taken forward. And if you look at it from a threat detection and the response, the AI powered SIEMs which are there, they are detecting anomalies faster than the rule based system which used to be. The user and entity behavior analytics have helped insider threats and compromised account identification much faster than it used to be earlier. The SOAR platform, automated triage, enrichment, and the response have actually helped in reducing the MTTR significantly. The fraud detection using the AI models with the behavior analysis has helped detect synthetic threats and bot activities, and documenting tampering has given a use case results in various aspects. Similarly, in the vulnerability management as well, if we look at it, so depending on the solutions you are adopting, because there are multiple solutions now in the market, some have reached that level where they can showcase a value, but some are still using it as a buzzword and showcasing that it is part of the solution, but actually it is not doing anything else. I mean,
So
it's
I think
considered
I
as
think what you're
good
really
only.
saying is that there are attempts made to make use AI to make either to make the solution more efficient, predict faster, but it is nowhere close to AI replacing humans and taking the calls themselves. I think that's what is clearly what you are doing. For example, in our case as well, right? We're using AI in a big way to predict, to make it efficient, to be able to mine data faster, predict what are bots, which are real bots and which are coordinated attacks, or which are what's the hacker trying to do. But I don't think we as a company as well are confident enough that a machine can take a call and say, if we feel that the score has met and the machine takes a call, we still leverage human intelligence to kind of leverage, especially in security, right? So I don't think one can take so there is a promise. At least what I am seeing from our perspective is there is uh, there are efficiency benefits, meaning we can do lot more with lesser, and faster and more standardized. We are able to predict stuff more in terms of looking at churning data much faster and come up with an outcome. But none of that has been, at least I don't think we are confident enough that the machine can take a call to take a response, take a call on an attack. We still would love to. We still want to. We still get human intelligence to look at it before taking the final call, especially because it can have an impact on customer business.
That's absolutely correct, Ashish, because to create a machine, you need to create and run a machine, you need human, and to take a call, you need a human. So human aspect can't be taken out from that. Machine to fight, let it fight using the AI, different AI models, but you definitely, to take a final decision, the human has to be kept in loop, without which it will still be a challenging. I'll give you an example. I mean, there is, I mean, when we identify a vulnerability, still after understanding the mitigation steps and looking at very carefully the impact of it, when you actually implement a solution, you at times it fails as well. I mean, it gives you different challenges doing that, and then you again have to put your human intervention. You look at multiple aspects and then correct that particular action which has been taken, which caused a system to go down. So considering all these aspects, I mean, human can't be eliminated 100%. There are certain mundane tasks which can be done using AI, but wherever there is strategical or there is business decision which needs to be taken, human aspect will definitely come into the picture. Cannot be 100% eliminated.
Excellent. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm glad and I'm finding the same with all the business leaders I talk to. They are finding the same thing: efficient, predictability, but it's not going to eliminate humans. That comes to an interesting, one of the most important components and core components of security is people, right? Running a leading life insurance business and managing security, how do you make sure that you are able to attract and retain the best talent to make sure that you are always on top? I mean, especially being an insurance company, right? Attracting cybersecurity talent and retaining them and keeping them excited could be a challenge. I don't know whether there is, but would love to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, if cybersecurity is not a typical line of a business which can be a typical line of function, I would say, not business, because here what you need in a talent is an ability and willingness to break things, because then only you can make things. The way I look at it, I mean, and there is anyways a scarcity in the market. If you look at it, there are different reports which have been published as well. Uh, you will be surprised that the kind of candidates I have seen in the past, and I've been hearing with my co-CISOs as well. There is a transition which is happening because currently there is a need of cybersecurity professional. There are people from administration, HR, and different operational functions moving into cybersecurity. They are doing some courses and then trying to find out roles in cybersecurity to get themselves elevated within the organization, or probably from a financial advantage perspective. So people are taking that line to elevate themselves, which is the scariest thing as well, because until unless you have a base of ID, becoming a cybersecurity professional is a difficult task. It can't be done that way. The risk and governance is a different piece, which is a subset of IT, where there definitely over a period of time you can learn certain things, but you need to have an ability in cybersecurity to do that. Attracting and retaining So skilled cybersecurity talent in BFSI, especially in insurance, require multi-prop strategy that goes beyond compensation. Now, first of all, there has to be a purpose to be defined to ensure that it emphasizes the mission critical nature of cybersecurity in protecting lives, health, and the financial frauds which are prevailing in the BFSI industry. And the position of insurer is very important to build a trust within the customer and the professionals who are eyeing to join that particular to a particular organization. You have to retain a talent, you need to show them a cutting edge technologies or tech stack which you are using, because now people wants to break those things and then learn from that. There are certain things, I mean, that's how we have learned from various technologies in the past as well. And I see that there are some new generation which is coming out. There are some good talents who have been working in this in the similar line and have been proving themselves in that. So it is important to highlight the use of AI ML in threat detection, zero trust architecture, cloud native security, and the different DevSecOps methodologies which have been adopted in the organizations. That's very important. And most important is the flexible hiring model you require, because it's not something that you go to an university and pick up people. There are people who are there who are freelancers, gig workers, and remote specialists who are working in the similar domain, and those can be attracted for the organization as well. So earlier it used to be like, I mean, you go to a BTech university, pick up resources from there, and there you can find the good tech talent which are there. But the trend has changed. I mean, there are people who have not even completed university, and you might have seen people, their big organizations like Microsoft, Google's are all hiring like that only. So in cybersecurity, the most important thing, like I mentioned, that you need a tech geek who loves to break things and then find out certain things. So that has to be attracted for an organization, and for that you need to give them an open environment and freedom to work. The process oriented, if you want them to follow the process, you will never find good cybersecurity resources.
Absolutely, and I could again completely relate to you. Like I been in a cybersecurity business, and my most brilliant security researchers or ethical hackers, if I may call them, are the ones who are under the age of 22, 23. They might not even have a degree, but they have kind of reverse engineered softwares and stuff like that. And one of the key conversations I need to have with them is, guys, we are ethical hackers. Let's doubly underline and bold that statement. We are here to help show customers what the weaknesses are and not exploit them, right? That makes us a difference, right? But and the other thing is, I couldn't agree more. Like, a lot of our a lot of our internal auditors will come and say, you have these things open and that open and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, if you don't give an environment for these guys to work, which is conducive, this is not traditional stuff. This is not going to work. I couldn't agree with you more. I think giving the right kind of environment and hiring the right kind of skills is very important. Absolutely. Before, Pawan, I let you go, I have another very nice and interesting session called the Rapid Fire. I'll ask you 3 questions, not more.
Sure.
First question from me would be, what is one book or a resource you would recommend for aspiring security leaders, chief information security officers, a book on leadership, or a resource they should refer to?
So there is one book which I have read recently, and I would strongly recommend that. It is the Five Dysfunction of a Team. I think it is by Peter Lencioni. It's a business fable that explores the fundamental causes of organization politics and team failure. The book identifies 5 different dysfunctions that team faces: the absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, and avoidance of accountability, and inattention to the results. So this is one book which I recommend that all CISOs should read it and learn from it the business nuances and It will help them in focus on the building trust, navigating conflict, and driving accountability, all in all critical functions in the organization. Yeah.
Fantastic. A misconception about cybersecurity and insurance you'd like to bust?
Well, not only insurance, cybersecurity is always considered to be an IT problem, whereas it is not just an IT problem. Cybersecurity is everybody's responsibility. Uh, and the other thing which I would say, never look CISOs as a magician, come with a magic wand and solves all the problem. Whereas CISO is not the owner of the asset or the application. I mean, he is one who is helping the organization to stay secure. So that misconception has to be clarified.
Maybe let me add one more based on I have got so many of you as my friends, right? And this is a common coffee chat which we have. Everything that is good is the business good, and everything bad we are responsible, right? So that needs the change as well. Pawan, the last one. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice as a security leader, what would that be?
So this is what I have learned at a later stage of my life, but I would recommend the younger one to learn it at their initial stage is to speak the business language. We have learned it over a period of time, because if we start using the technical jargons, nobody will understand in the board. You need to tell them that how it could, why it is important, what you are doing to solve the problem, and how it can help the business to stay awake. So what, why, and how are important.
Fantastic. I couldn't agree with you more again. I mean, Pawan, this has been an absolute delight. I mean, thanks a lot for joining us, and I'm sure our viewers are going to have a blast, especially aspiring security, people who are trying to get into security or ones who are already dealing with security for their organizations. I think it covers you've kind of provided a 360-degree view. Loved it. Thanks a lot for taking our time out. I really appreciate it.
Same here, Ashish. Thanks for inviting me for this session, and I definitely enjoyed it as well. Yeah.
Take care.
You too. Thank you.